Bitcoin cycle top finder. You can see this. This is kind of a mix of data. I believe it's sentiment data, it's technical indicators, it's on-chain data. And if you just take a glance, I don't know if you agree with this or not, but if you just take a glance, we still have a lot of upside for Bitcoin and for crypto markets. And this is just one view of the data. You all know we've been looking at the total crypto market cap chart zoomed out. You all know where I think we are in these cycles. We are just getting started in this dip from my viewpoint. And I don't know about you, this dip is very normal. We had almost identical dip on the total crypto market cap last cycle this time. In this video, I really want to dig into the Bitcoin price action. I want to dig into the ADA price action, and I want to dig into the Ethereum price action to kind of get a little bit of a sense of a zoomed in roadmap, because I am zooming out a lot. You all know I'm bullish for this cycle. You all know I think this is a typical crypto dip. There is a sentiment indicator that just triggered that I want to talk about. So hit the subscribe and hit the like on the way in, and let's just jump into it. So before we dive into the charts, and I'll put it all in the timestamps, Sentiment posted this. This was yesterday. I thought this was so interesting. With Bitcoin falling as low as $95,500 today, the ratio of crypto discussions that are about buying crypto's dip has reached its level, its highest level in over 8 months. The last time we saw, and we're going to look at this on the charts, the last time we saw the crowd nearly this enthusiastic about dip buying was the major crash on August 4th. Since that time, Bitcoin's market cap is 81% higher. So you can see the highest social dominance about buying crypto dips now versus that time in August 4th. And if you go to a Bitcoin chart, August 4th, interestingly, was right here, right? So two things. Number one, look at this wick swing low. This was a bottoming out formation before going much higher. A lot of consolidation led into the next move. That could be where we are right now. We could have a lot of consolidation before the next move, which I think is imminent. It can happen anytime. But what's also interesting, and this will play into the shorter term technical analysis that we're about to look at, and maybe why to be cautious on the short term, is you notice August 4th, this red candle, a lot of dip buying chatter and talks. And it probably started even here when we're starting to dip, right? A lot of dip buying chatter, and it still went lower. So that's one thing to keep in mind. There's a lot of dip buying chatter right now, and there's a case where we do go lower. And that's kind of what I want to talk about in this video. So it's something to be prepared for. And let's do it. Let's just zoom in on the chart. So here's Bitcoin on the 4 hour. A couple things to note. We broke through the lower trend line of this channel that Bitcoin was in. Put aside where we are in cycles. Put aside bull market, bear market. This is a channel that Bitcoin was in. Therefore, we have patterns. We have targets. We had a target to the upside. We had a target to the downside. The target to the downside has not been hit, right around that like $88,000 range. And this is one thing I wanted to talk about. In the short term, and you can apply caution here or not, we might see this setup for some bullish divergence. And what that could require is one more swing low. And that's something that I'm just watching for. It doesn't matter to me really one way or another. I would really like just to get the bounce and the break back into this channel. But the story playing out right now could be we're getting a bounce. Maybe we go to the lower trend line and then we fall to another lower low. But while that's happening on this 4 hour chart, I will be very much watching the RSI, the slower moving momentum oscillator. Does Bitcoin put in a higher low while it's putting in a lower low? That could be a very nice bullish reversal signal if that happens. But I digress from that. And right now what I'm watching for Bitcoin is just to see, can Bitcoin break back above and through this channel, that lower trend line just above $100,000. Right now, Bitcoin is already at $97,000 from this swing low that it put in, right? And we're on a 4 hour chart. So this is happening quickly. $92,000. Right now we're at 97. So 5% bounce so far. Can it kind of see another 5% move to the upside in the short term to get back into this channel? Very much so. That's what I'll be watching. Maybe we start getting some bullish confirmations above that lower trend line if Bitcoin is able to make it. But I really would apply caution right now. I'm hanging out. I'm just watching markets. There needs to be just bottoming out structure across all of these charts. So that's Bitcoin on the short term. Let's pivot over to ADA. First off, on the ADA daily chart, just look at this wick above the 50-day moving average. There's no telling how this daily candle closes right now. Still almost 8 hours left of the daily candle. But right now, this move is so nice from the 50-day moving average perspective, as well as this lower trend line, or the lower end of the bull market doors, I should say. And we're about to talk more about that. And before we do, I want to just play this very brief clip. This was from a live stream 4 days ago. Check it out. 20-week moving average also just crossing above the 50-week moving average. We always anticipate not only consolidation, but throwbacks. So I'm not even like being as bearish as I really should be, which is to say, you know, at the very least, revisiting the 200-week moving average. It is in play, everybody. I'm just not sitting here talking about it. So in those moments, I just know I'm supposed to be more bearish than I am. I don't like talking about downside targets. Even when they're happening, I don't like when they're happening, but I do realize how necessary they are. And here we are. I think what we were sitting at in that video, $1.10, we wicked down to 77 cents. It is notable for multiple reasons, and here's one of them. First off, besides the macro reason, we were tracking this kind of head and shoulders pattern, and pretty much the target was into the 70s, I believe. Might have been actually into the 60s. So we haven't even hit the head and shoulders target. But one thing is true. We broke the neckline out of the head and shoulders, and right now we're finding support. If we get this case, and this plays into Bitcoin, right now what we just talked about, a lower low on Bitcoin, if altcoins haven't bottomed, just be aware. The head and shoulders target into the 60s is in play. And do we see something similar for Cardano, where it's putting in some type of lower low on price? People are really freaking out, but we're getting a higher low on the momentum oscillator. This could be a bullish indicator, a bottoming out signal. And by the way, you go back to the daily chart. I just want to make a note of something. This entire dip, as far as an altcoin is concerned, is entirely normal. So yeah, it's volatile, it's crazy, but this is necessary for new highs, for new local highs, as well as for new all-time highs. And this likely, if we get this bull market, if it continues, this likely will not be the last bull market dip. So it's a good idea to not only prepare for them, but just to get used to them. But going back to this point, you can see ADA has revisited on the daily chart to this lower trend line. If you change this daily chart to a weekly, the reason why it's so important is because we know it's the lower end of our bull market channel, but what makes the bull market channel, the bull market doors, it's the 200-day moving or 200-week moving average. We know this previous swing high in the bear market, entering the bear market, is the upper end of the bull market doors. Right here, we saw resistance, and right now we're at the lower end of the bull market doors. So in a macro perspective, we're looking for some type of support. And right now, so far, it has it, right? On the weekly chart, you can see this wick right down to the 200-week moving average. And you can just see ADA is, just as I was mentioning in that video, pulling into the 20 to 50. As we get weekly closes, you'll see ADA get closer to these moving averages, which I think is a good thing for continuation into the bull market. One thing to make a note of, there's 2 days, 8 hours left on the weekly. And this is what I'll be watching for ADA right now. Can ADA close the candle above the 200-week moving average? In the next 24 hours, are we getting some type of capitulation and we're still going to close with a wick well below? I don't know. I don't know how this is going to play out, but I'm very much watching. On the monthly chart, still 11 days left. Since this is a macro story playing out, I think this is a very important area to hold on the monthly. So we're looking at around 73 cents. It's the 50-month moving average just below the bull market doors. That's the area on the macro bull market story for ADA that I think is very important to hold. So 11 days, 8 hours. Let's see how the monthly candle closes. And then on the weekly, we got a couple days, 2 days, 8 hours. Let's see how the weekly closes on the short term to kind of get a sense of, all right, are we out of the woods sooner than later? And can we kind of just, at the very least, trade sideways, put in structure? Because most importantly, on the daily chart, that's what I'm looking for now. Finally, after just higher highs, higher lows, parabolic, the structure you can see starting to form. Not yet formed, but starting to form. And how will it look? Will it be a symmetrical triangle? And these are the things that get exciting in bull markets especially. What will the structure be that leads to ADA's next breakout, the breakout that everybody's waiting for? back above $1, back above $2, back above $3, breaking all-time high. So what does the structure look like? It could be setting up right now on ADA charts, the 50-day moving average on the short term. Very nice to see, but let's see how it closes in the next 7.5 hours. Ethereum's important for all altcoins, and I wanted to do the Ethereum analysis just because it really plays into what we're talking about with Bitcoin, what we're talking about with ADA, but also the general bull market story for altcoins, altcoin season story. And I've been talking about it a lot. Without repeating myself too much, Ethereum has not even broken all-time high yet. This is just one small, but I think important reason why the bull market is not over. And I'm quite sure, as institutions have been just accumulating Ethereum, I'm quite sure the party has not even started yet. But here we are at the apex of this massive symmetrical triangle, waiting for this breakout to the upside. Could the ETH bull market trigger, and this is a signal for altcoins that I'm watching and why I wanted to cover ETH, could the trigger be right here? Because we know if Ethereum breaks out, it is very good for altcoins. And this could be that signal for the next leg up for altcoins. But that's the question. Will ETH break out? Right now, we saw the resistance at this upper trend line. We fell back into all of the moving averages. The 200-day moving average, I think we were talking about $3,000 being in play for Ethereum in yesterday's live stream. And you can see Ethereum pretty much wicked to that area, just below $3,100, it looks like on this chart. So if that's the case, and Ethereum starts making a move to the upside, what happens here? Big resistance at the upper trend line in blue that you see there on the multi-year symmetrical triangle around 3,800. But then we have the lower end of this Fibonacci range around just under 3,700. 3,700 to 3,800 could be the ETH bull market trigger. What is that? That is the swing high rejection to current swing low. It's this pullback to the area. And if ETH breaks that area, that could be the bullish confirmation that Ethereum's looking for, and just crypto in general, I would say, is looking for. So that's what I'll be looking for in terms of Ethereum. If we get some type of really nice bounce, maybe it goes a little bit lower as we discussed for Cardano and Bitcoin. But if we start trending back higher, what does Ethereum do at that key range? 30, what did we say? It's like 38, 37. Let's just call it $37 to $3,900. Very big resistance range for Ethereum. But that could be the trigger for altcoins that we're looking for. But that's what I'll be tracking. And all of these things, everybody, I'm just kind of hanging out right now, allowing for structure to form, allowing for support to kind of find itself and these charts to find support, allowing for targets to be hit, allowing for bullish divergence setups to happen. And these things take time. It's a volatile ride. It's a roller coaster. But welcome to just your typical crypto bull market, whether it's this cycle happening now, last cycle happening around the same time, or even you go back multiple cycles ago, also happening around the same time, and also happening multiple times. So normal move, gonna continue tracking it. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. Make sure you hit that like button if you enjoyed the video. Your support really means a lot to me. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.